Hey everyone, it's Albie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have a review for you today. I just finished a lovely book by Sophie Lark. It is book 2 in the Brutal Birthright series, and it was Stolenheir. I'll insert a picture over here, wherever there's more room. It was wonderful. I gave it 6 stars. It is the second book, like I said. Book 1 is The Brutal Prince, and I really like that book as well. I gave it 5 stars. But Stolenheir, the one I just read, was a 6-star read. It was so good. So one thing that I really loved about it was that it was a legit retelling of Beauty and the Beast in like sort of the Disney 90s version, or I guess the live action Disney, where it had the castle and a lot of the aesthetic really matched that Disney Beauty and the Beast story, which is one of my favorites. I really like that one a lot. I think Disney really hit it out of the park with that version. And Sophie Lark just hit it out of the park with her story. So in this, we have our heroine, Nessa Griffin, and she is the younger sister of Callum. She's actually the youngest sister. She's sort of the baby of his side of the family, and I think she would basically be the baby of the Gallo Griffin scion. So she's 19 years old. She is a college student. I wasn't quite sure what her major was. I think she's an arts major, but I can't really remember. But her big thing is she is a ballerina. She's very dedicated to her craft. She works very hard, and she's like a legit ballerina. Now, she says in her person narrative that she isn't going to be like a great star of ballet, but she is very talented. She's very dedicated, and she could probably work at a small company or such, but she'll never be like an A-list star like what's her name, like Anna Pavlova from like the early 1900s, or oh, what's that, there's a famous one now. She even has a Barbie after her. Is it Misty Copeland? Yeah, Misty Copeland is sort of like the A-list ballerina of our generation. So she'll never be as great as Misty Copeland, but Nessa is a very talented dancer. So anyway, after some of the stuff that happens at the end of book 1, we meet our hero slash sort of villain, Nikolai, who goes by Miko, and his father has passed, and so he is now the head of it's like Brawitstova or something like that, which is the Polish mob in sort of the suburbs or neighboring cities of Chicago, Illinois. And he believes in the Mafia world, a debt needs to be paid for the death of his sort of adopted father figure. And so he decides that the Griffins and the Gallows can pay. And to do that, he'll kidnap, and seems like at first he wants to, as they say on TikTok, unalive Nessa. But I guess he sort of changed his mind early on. But he sets out to kidnap Nessa. And so he is successful, and Nessa is kidnapped by him, and she has to live as a prisoner in his gothic, dark mansion out sort of on the outskirts of the city of Chicago. And it's just a wild ride. I really enjoyed some of the secondary characters of this book. Now, we do get to see a little bit of Aida and Callum, but not too much. It doesn't really focus on them, since this is the story of Miko and Nessa. But we do meet Klara, and she's sort of like the archetype of Mrs. Potts. And I can't remember her name, but she was like the feather duster in Beauty and the Beast. I'm sure someone knows her name, but she's sort of an archetype of Mrs. Potts and the feather duster girl from Beauty and the Beast. And her name was Klara, and I really liked her a lot. I kind of wish that we would get like a novella of Marcel and Klara's story, or a story of their own, because I just really thought she was interesting. I think, in my opinion, I think the people that work for villainous people are interesting. I just find that's how do you go to your work when it's sort of a mundane job? Like, say you're the chef or the fitness coach or dog walker, dog sitter for like a mob boss. Are you oblivious to the fact? Do you just like overlook it? Do you have to wear a bulletproof vest to take the dog for a walk? I find that interesting. So I really did like Klara a lot, as well as Marcel. And I just like the relationship between Miko and Nessa. So as I described this book when I was writing my review for it, it probably would be written as a slow burn, but there was so much like sexual tension between Miko and Nessa that it was almost like literary foreplay. So it was kind of cool to have like a story that technically was slow burn in the scope of the story, but it had so much tension that it wasn't like you had to wait for them to get together. You're like, okay, this is going to be really good when they finally do get together. Now I sort of get these ideas as well with some of like my historical romances. One of my favorite, like, it's not spicy, but like, hey y'all, sorry, my camera actually filled up on space, so I wasn't able to finish what I was saying. So I'm going to try to add these two clips together in editing, and hopefully I get that figured out. But like I said, sometimes a slow burn can be really spicy if the tension is high. Like if you've ever watched the Mia Wasikowska and Michael Fassbender version of Jane Eyre from like 2011, that movie is pretty hot. You know, it's not like sexually explicit in any sense. I think it might be rated PG for scary scenes, but really it's G. And you know, just sometimes slow burns can have more passion than like, you know, wang bang move show book, whatever. So yeah, I really enjoyed the Stolen Heir. I thought it was wonderful. I love the Beauty and the Beast aspect. I love the characters. I will say there are some definite content warnings. There is suicide. There is violence, gore, murder. There is, it's not depicted, but there is sort of a gang SA that happens to a minor character at the very beginning. If that's something you don't want to even think about, I would just say skip chapter 1 and you'll sort of get the gist of what happens, but it's not a main character, but it's something that happens to a character's loved one. So I would say definitely check my description for the content warnings, but it is pretty heavy. But if you go past chapter 1 and you know that it's a dark mafia romance, so it's going to have like violence with the mafia people, then you sort of know what to expect. It's not like you wouldn't find like violence and gore probably in this. I haven't read it yet, so it could have violence and gore. But you know, with dark mafia romances, there's a little thing, you know, you have some things you're going to probably encounter more so than like in Love on the Brain. You know, it's pink. Doesn't mean it could, I mean, there's probably a pink, graphic, horrendous, violent novel, but you know, I wouldn't expect this to have violence, gore, and murder. But you know, dark mafia romance, possibly. You know, well, everyone, I really enjoyed Stolen Heir. I hope my review was informative for you if you want to read it or not. I think if you're definitely a fan of Beauty and the Beast, you have to pick this up. I read books 1 and 2, and I do plan to read Savage Lover, which I think is book 3. Probably not in September, but maybe in October for something more like that dark, gothic, sort of scary stuff. Well, everyone, I hope you'll have a great day, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.